Welcome back to Sonic 4 Episode 2, and Deji's guest starring here.
I've never played this game, so I know nothing about this. Oh, I can barely contribute anything.
Wait, really? I'm surprised.
So that begs the question, why are you here?
Because I like you guys. Same reason why Tio joins these Pokemon podcasts.
I love it. Eggman's back is still broke.
Also, is it
tossed him down the pit?
Also, is it me or the Sonic Spin has a giant letter F under his name? Yeah, it has the. Hey Sonic, let me tell you about the letter F. The letter F is used, to say words like "fuck you" or.
Also, I like how the airship Metal gets as a reference to Sonic Heroes from the Air Fleet.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just can't unsee that now. Like, the plane is Sonic F. Okay, at this site you'll take to the sky aboard Tails' Tornado. Use the right analysis to move. You can still move use the spin jump and homing attack. When standing on the tornado, press X to use the tornado boost to break through obstacles. Okay, so unlike Sky Chase, where it's relatively easy to to outspeed the plane and fall to your death, the plane controls in this game are much more forgiving. There you go.
Thank you, Tails.
Basically, every time you're on top of the plane, you can spin dash, you can do whatever, and you won't fall. Not really. Like,
I like these, actually.
The only issue I have with Sky Fortress Act 1 is the fact that if you don't know what you're doing, the boss battle against Metal Sonic can last for a good while. I will talk about that when we actually get to the boss.
So, have you actually never played this, Deji?
He just said he never.
He told me he's waiting for a re-release. Thing is, I seriously doubt Sega's gonna re-release these games.
Well, okay, they might re-release Episode 2 because they recently released merchandise of the flipping egg cards.
Like, if you want to bother to release, do it as a compilation, maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they probably would do it.
My thing is the current achievement I got.
Like, my thing is like, well, if they're really adamant about pretending Episode 1 doesn't exist, they could technically get away with that. Again, it is probably wiser to assume that, they will actually just bring back both games together. But, between the two games, Episode 2 is the one that's more tolerated by the fan base for various reasons.
I mean,
technically, you need Episode Metal, but you technically don't need Episode 1 to tell a coherent story for Sonic 4 when you think about it.
These games barely have any story, so yeah. But,
Episode 2 actually works to do a better narrative akin to the style of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Honestly, I would argue that Sonic 4 should have started off being on par with Episode 2 and then expanded from there.
my thing is that, like, yes, we do have the Sonic Mega Drive style animations, but in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's betrayal and peacemaking. Like there's actual character stuff going on in those stuff, like specifically with Knuckles and how he finds out there and has been lying into him all the time, especially if you play the game through Origins. But in these cutscenes, though, there's not really any character beats. It's like, yes, there's cutscenes, but the plot still is just Eggman is doing bad, go stop him. There's no character beats like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So
I know that it's the current trend for companies to make ports these days of franchise right in the middle instead of starting from the beginning. But again, I really do think it would be too much of an issue, packaging Episode 1 and 2 together.
I would.
I mean, honestly, that would be the more obvious answer.
I'm still wondering why the hell can't we get like a Sonic Dimps collection of sorts? Like, why can't we get the Advanced Trilogy? Why can't we get the Rush duology?
I guess it's just a matter of...
Yeah, I was about to
Like,
ask you because I don't know how much did the Rush games use like the functionalities of the DS, like the stuff.
That's the thing, Joe. You can, if you're emulating, you can easily map. Okay, the only thing that needs to be working is the special stages, but you can easily remap the controls of the special stages to the analog stick. Go on, Jova.
I think the obvious answer would just be they haven't gotten to it yet, because clearly, okay, it seems like a lot of game companies lately are getting on this trend of the big re-release collections in one way, shape, or form or another. Like, so my guess is, now that they're pretty much on the preservation train, that it's just a matter of time until we see other Sonic collections follow suit.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's a good thing that they're doing that then, because I still don't understand why we couldn't have that in the 5 years between Forces and Frontiers where little to nothing was happening.
I don't know. My best guess would be, well, okay. I guess, to be fair, a lot of the classics were available on Steam at that point, so...
Oh, I'm not talking about the classics. Yeah, I'm not talking about the classics. I'm talking about games that have been re-released. Period. Like even Iizuka in an interview last year said that he regrets leaving the franchise basically without any content. Forgot those 5 years in between Forces and Frontiers, which again, which begs the question: did nobody think, hey guys, maybe we should re-release some of our back catalog to hold fans over or something? Like.
It sounds like Iizuka had that idea, but for some reason, it did not go through.
I don't understand why this is so difficult.
I don't know why it's difficult for a lot of these game companies, since, like I said, it only feels like recently we're seeing this big movement among various game companies to realize, hey, guys, preservation actually do be important. Hell,
not even...
The Battle Network collection sold really well.
It's not even just that. Like, remember, most of the reason, the major reason why it can help to do this is because that way it allows you to still profit off the brand while the next main big game is being cooked. It's like a no-duh type of situation, like, okay, it's gonna take 5 years until the next game comes about, so what do we do in the meantime? Okay, we have all this back catalog that could use the re-release, let's do that. Like, that way we keep the brand going, like, and we keep the brand in the public perception, which helps with marketing. I'm sorry, I'm just letting my business men side... Sure, keep going.
Okay.
What was businessman Pedro?
Well, no, okay, let me explain this. Okay. One of the things you're taught in business management is that you don't want to spend too much time leaving your brand out of public perception. As in, okay, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. That whole thing where people say, oh, I forgot Battletoads 2020 was even coming out, right? The reason for that is because of the terrible marketing, because for whatever reason the company didn't feel the need to keep that game under our eye, like showing us all the time in events and shit like that. Like, and in business management you're told that doing that is basically asking for negative profit margins. Like, and it's so baffling to me when a company does this, because like, what are you doing?
Okay, in regards to Sonic still did have public perception about here and there. We did have Sonic Colors Ultimate, to be fair.
Oh, sure. But what about 2019? Why didn't anything happen in 2019? Okay. Team Sonic Racing come out in when did Sonic Racing come out again?
2019.
Okay, I guess then.
So there was that, and then, let's be fair, after that came the pandemic.
Sure.
A lot of companies got, screwed over bad.
Remind me, what came out? Remind me, aside from the Encore DLC of Mania, what came out in 2018?
Hold on.
Yeah, because in 2018, aside from the Encore DLC, nothing was happening, Sonic-wise.
Hold on. Check. Sonic Mania Plus, essentially, which did add on that extra campaign, too.
Yeah.
Along with Mighty and Ray. So for a lot of people, that was a good, substantial added piece to the pie. So that sufficed for that, honestly.
I don't know. I disagree. That doesn't fill an entire year for me. I needed something more.
Again, I get it. You didn't like that, but let's not act like Sonic went dormant absolutely during that period of time. Either. No, I mean it was enough to keep public perception on it, and a lot of people ended up liking them in that regard. That being said, I will agree that it is a bit of a shame we had to wait that long for a mainline title. Thankfully, they did have something good to show for it with Frontiers.
No, it's not even just that, Java. I'm okay with them taking as much time as they need for a mainline game. I'm just all I'm asking for in between those years. Give us those re-releases we keep asking. Where's Unleashed PC? We keep asking for that, and yet they refuse to give it to us.
Wow. Okay. Weren't there those times where they I'm not sure who did it exactly, but weren't there those times where they were patching up the likes of Unleashed to run better on Series XS?
No, but that was done by Microsoft's backwards compatibility team. Like, aside from Sega allowing it to happen, that's it. Like, the Sega wasn't involved in that, aside from allowing it to happen.
Wow.
Remember, the emulations for the Series X from backwards compatibility are done by Microsoft's internal team. So,
that was really cheap.
it's more so the fact that you have to keep going and you have to be careful not to hit the thing. It's a bit, it's one of those things where it can be difficult when you're doing it on a first turn, because you're...
Look at that, you hit for a second the reactor and you're done.
You have to know in advance that you have to go through the middle section. So, it's what I like to call a beginner's trap, basically.
Yeah, it's called a skill issue. Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
I was actually
Yeah. You know what we call?
This is the one who hasn't played this game.
You know what I've heard that is? That's difficulty shaming.
Well,
It's projecting.
To be fair, that's exactly my problem that I have at least with Mania. That I do acknowledge that it's my problem.
We've already talked about this. How you're not particularly great at Sonic games. That's whatever.
But what I mean is that the game should not really be modified to suit my.
Oh, sure.
I should just become better at playing.
Obviously, sure. Well, that's the thing. You can always play the Sonic 2. What's the name, Joe? What's the name of that ROM hack of Sonic 2? No. I got it. I think it's the straight. The hold forward to win hack. I forgot the name. Like basically, someone made a Sonic 2 hold forward to win hack where the zones are you just hold forward until you get to the stage. So there you go. That's a Sonic game you can beat.
Actually, here's the perfect solution for you, Steve. Play Sonic Mania. Play as Mighty. You're welcome.
Alright, I'm just gonna meet the video.
Okay, Dwibs, it is not even that bad.
Not really. I'm gonna have to agree with Jova.
I
mean,
Is that high pitched bit? I'm not. Okay. Speaking of me problems, that kind of sounds not really my cup of tea.
Okay,
Hold on, let Shira speak. Go on, Shira.
since each of us has had this moment throughout this LP, I will say this perfect timing for Dwibs to say all that, because I think these are my favorite tracks.
wow, Dwibs just shovels out right war there.
But to be honest, Joe, me and Shuri being at war over things is nothing new. I mean, every time our nations play in the war,
Remember, Joe, but
He's English, I'm Welsh. This is just kind of what we do.
remember, England and Wales are always at war. That's what I keep saying, Joe.
I thought that was England and France who were natural enemies.
England is always at war with everybody. So, Joe, but this is why I keep.
Maybe if they didn't make those unreasonable taxes, they wouldn't make as many enemies.
That's why I make Joe, but that's why I keep making that joke about whenever Britain is in turmoil, and I'm always like, whatever, Britain is always in turmoil. So
okay, wait, Shiroi, I need to know. Do you put beans on your toast?
Yes,
Yes.
I do.
God.
Yeah, we do. What,
See, I did it. I
It's
united
not
them
that
together.
hard. Try it.
Have you even tried it, Deji? It's good for you.
Is it really good for your heart?
Yeah.
I'll
It
eat,
gives
I'll
all
eat
sorts of
them
nutrients.
separately.
Last week,
Pizza toast is actually good.
Okay, guys. To bring this back to the game. All right, ladies, you're both beautiful. But anyway, the point is, this gimmick is of course inspired by Def Egg Zone from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and that's basically it. The game, this act doesn't really have any unique gimmicks to them. Like not really. Go on, Theo. You want to ask me something?
Well, no, I think I was supposed to answer what the Deji asked me a while ago. That's the problem, Deji. That's exactly how I played, Sonic Mania. The reason why I wasn't going forward is because, again, the slippery momentum. So I used for a while either Tails or Mighty as a crusher, but even so, I did not still, went that much forward. I get the idea that if I tried it these days, I probably will be able to do it. It's just that my backlog, is having other things that I'm prioritizing.
yes.
One thing that I would like to say as well, by the way, since we're on the topic of Sonic 4, I do recommend the Sonic 4 Dimps Edition ROM hack, which is basically a parody of the constant boost pads all over these two games. That it's like Johnny said, like it's a good thing that they got better physics and better control and all that stuff. But like Johnny said, like there's still a lot of, well, not in this zone to be fair. This zone is much better in that regard. But when you take a look in something like Oil Desert and Sylvania Castle, there's still a lot of boosts and springs that do all the work for you. It's I kind of wish all the game was designed like this zone.
I was
like.
gonna say, Pedro, why do you need the mod to parody in this game when he does a good job?
Well, yeah, but like I was just trying to make a point, because what they do with they even do the Sonic 4 Episode 1 thing where he uncurls for some reason.
They should have made the ROM hack just each level be a continuous bottomless pit that loops.
Oh, how about
Leroy, you're thinking a little too lightly here. Turn every bottomless pit into a pot of Omo-chows that will each give you a tutorial as you die.
we actually recently got
That sounds horrific. Why would
Leroy, Sonic Frontiers Omo-chow
Yes,
edition.
yes, we already have a Sonic Frontiers Omo-chow edition, Shiro.
Wait,
I
what?
can,
Yes, we do.
I can, Jova, I can just picture it now. Hi, I'm Overchow. Do you want to know how to die when you fall down a bottomless pit?
Fun fact, but while we're on the topic,
Goodbye for now.
fun fact, we're on the topic of mods. The Sonic 4 modding scene is very scarce, by the way. Not a lot of people seem to be interested in making mods for this game, especially Episode 2. Episode 1 has an amount of mods that replaces the model with the model from the mobile version, stuff like that. But Episode 2 doesn't people in general don't seem to be much interested in making mods for this game. Which is rare for a Sonic game, because Sonic games usually are like ripe with mods. So, interesting.
I think part of it is due to the lack of asset maneuvering with those games, essentially. They're a lot more rigid in that regard, if I recall correctly. Also, in regards to Sonic for Episode 1, what do you have to work with that you can't arguably get better versions of in different games aside from the gimmicks?
I don't know. Well, okay, there's a mod to put in the Wii music on the PC version. So if you're one of those who prefers the Wii music, it's there. Oh, that reminds me, by the way.
Here's the obvious reason why there's not much modding with the Sonic 4 games. Generations is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, for Generations, you get extremely much... Well, okay, Sonic 4 Episode 2 could be considered in some cases on par, but in regards to, zones that resemble the classic zones, Generations got you covered.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
Theo, it's a Paradox Kyogre.
Also, actually, I think. Go on.
Yeah, he was done.
Okay, look, just to sum up the point, Generations is pretty much, you know, the definitive means for getting those assets.
Fun fact, like we've talked about, Episode 2 didn't release on the Wii because, according to the developers, they didn't want to limit what they could do with Episode 2 because of the compression they would have to do to get the game on the Wii. So... game?
What a good day for a fly it is.
Alright, now we get a cutscene where we see the Sky Fortress exploding.
Well, I think we left a bit of a mess here.
Sonic, I don't think this mess was caused by you this time. I think
Wait, hold on, Tails. What do you mean this time?
I think Eggman's just getting a bit, I think he's losing it.
I find nice that it's a nice touch of the fact that the animals, that are free are exclusively the one that can fly away.
I was just about to say that.
Which is interesting.
Again, I guess they listened to the criticism from Episode 1 with how a lot of those animals just gotta go, come on, after him!
And once again, Eggman outruns the both of them.
He had a running start this time. Fortunately, Eggman is about to go to space to escape us.
That's usually what happens, so... Alright.
Come on.
Has Jim Carrey ever been in space in one of these movies? I forgot.
Did he go in Space in the Mask?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I can barely fit in this thing!
Trust me, it beats being on a crashing flying board, Tails!
Even though Tails can fly.
Come on, Tails, we're gonna Moonraker this! And
So there you go, the
Death Egg Mark II.
The Death Egg Mark II, yes.
Now available in Jazzware stores.
No,
yes.
Alright, we've talked about how Episode 3 was quietly cancelled, right? And the interesting thing is that it ironically actually makes, in my opinion, this game have quite possibly the most underwhelming ending of any of these classic Sonic games, and I will explain why when we get to it.
We'll get to that. Essentially, though, the story of this is that you remember Little Planet from Sonic CD? That's back. And Eggman has now mechanized the entire thing. That's right. This Death Egg, it's Little Planet roboticized, essentially.
Also, if I remember correctly, didn't these got a track based on these in the first Sonic and All-Stars Racing?
Yes.
Metal Sonic Fiend for his Super Fiend. I
was talking physically because I remember it's the stage where Rystar makes a cameo in the first.
Oh no, that's the Death Egg. I think the Death Egg based off Legend Sonic 3, I believe.
Also, here's a unique thing: you actually get a boss midway through the first zone, and it's a 2-on-2 fight between Sonic, Tails, and you're just going for the Super Form.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
why not use it?
Technically, Eggman is just being supported because you're actually supposed to fight Metal Sonic specifically. Eggman has a barrier, so you can't hit Eggman. So this is a battle against Metal Sonic with Eggman has Metal support, basically.
When Metal Sonic
like I said, 2-on-2.
Since when Metal Sonic can use the Genki Dama?
Ever since he absorbed the Power Stone.
Because, Tail, let me put it this way. The same way Final Fantasy likes to reference Star Wars, Sonic likes to reference Dragon Ball. That's just how it is.
Although, again, just gonna say it, Sonic got to the white form before Goku.
Well, I'm certainly having someone else play the stage for me.
Sorry, Shirai. Yeah, that's basically it. With Super Sonic, this is pretty easy, so...
Again, I mean, okay.
I do like it as, like I said, I like it as a 2-on-2 fight where, you know, like how Tails is the support to Sonic, Eggman is the support to Metal Sonic.
Okay, now we can hear the track. Okay. Again, I mean, it's not the melody itself that's the issue, even if it is just a short loop. It's this sound font. I mean, in some cases it's bad. In some cases it's better than episode 1, but in others, well, you have stuff like this and the dying ducks.
Nah, well, okay, aside from maybe Oil Ocean Act 2, and like I said, I actually like that one, I don't see it or hear it.
Well,
Anyway.
Because apparently, Jeff, you have Years of Steel.
Yes, Job is now. Yes, Job is a Kryptonian. That's the plot twist.
Well, you know what they say. You know what they say. Steel is well refined, so I guess that means I have a very good sense of auditory.
Well, considering you're a musician, you kind of need it. But
now we're upside down.
well, this is just common. Okay.
We need to bring back this thing from the first game, huh?
It's well, to be fair, even the other games had some gravity stuff, so it's not like this was exclusive.
I agree,
to
but
the
it's
first game.
really unnecessary and just this unnecessary disorienting.
Another thing that is weird about Tails is what the fuck was Tails doing just now?
Moonwalking.
More like moon flying. But Tails is the guys at Point Scratch also brought this up. There seems to be some kind of inconsistency for how long Tails can stay in flight while carrying Sonic. Sometimes it seems like he gets tired sooner than other times. It's weird. Anyway,
it depends maybe on how many times you mash the button to get up.
I guess, but if it does, Tails, the game doesn't convey that to you.
Okay then.
Which is weird because the game has tutorial messages explaining stuff to you, so you'd think they would explain that if that is the case. Alright, moving on. Yeah, come on, this is starting to go on for a little longer than this. Just let me get to the... Thank you.
It's gonna go on.
Alright, so there you go. Now we're redoing the Metal Sonic race from Sonic CD, and with Super Sonic, we can basically, yeah.
Oh man, you're literally drowning out one of the best tracks in the game. Come on.
I prefer the Generations remix.
Well, that's the thing. This one actually takes cues from the Generations.
Fine,
remix.
let's use the 69 attack then.
Is that what it's actually called?
And you immediately go back
it's
drowning out the track.
It's called Tech Combo, Veg. It's just that people like to call it 69 attack because it's funny.
It's funny.
Oh.
I genuinely thought that's what it was called all this time.
Well, there you go, Metal. Not the rematch you were hoping for, was it?
Again, like you drowned out one of the best tracks in the game with the super music. For shame.
Jova, if I have Super Sonic, I'm going to use it. I mean,
show off your skills without it.
like I went out of my way to get all the 7 emeralds. I've earned this, damn it. Like, come on, dude.
Also, what's with the lighting in this?
It's dark.
Because you're in the
You guys sure like the difficulty, Shane.
Anyway, though, like I mentioned, it's not like Second Sonic Team are apparently trying to act like this doesn't exist because, as we mentioned, recently there has been new merchandise pertaining to this game. That thing of the Defeg Mark II and the boss of the zone, Eggheart.
Okay. Okay, Teo, question. Just gonna give you some foreshadowing. You know how in classic Sonic games there's the bad ending and the true ending, meaning the true ending where you get all Chaos Emeralds? Like usually in classic Sonic games, if you complete the game without all the emeralds, there's like a try again thing where Eggman is laughing and shit like that.
Yeah.
Hold on, Pedro.
Keep that in mind for later.
Here we have it.
The literal heart of the Death Egg.
Why would you make merchandising out of this thing?
Why not? It's a pretty cool design.
I do really like the concept for this boss battle. I just wish there was a bit more to it than just jumping on these whatever there are.
Wait, wasn't there isn't like the first boss in Sonic Colors basically this?
Not quite.
Not quite, no.
Different in that regard.
Yeah, it's also kind of annoying that every time you hit Eggman, you have to see the cutscene of them spinning every time, and it gets longer each time. Hold on. Oh fuck. There you go. Yeah, and remember, like, I have no control during that. Yeah, during this bit, like, yeah.
See if you can make this.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, supersonic.
Well, of course, if you're going to just cheat like that,
Eggman.
joke's on you, Eggman. I earned these emeralds all the more.
Eggman, do you know how hard I had to work to get through all this? And Tails too, I guess. What do you mean, I guess?
You helped, Tails. You certainly helped, but let's be honest, I was the one who got the bulk of the rings.
Well, because they're not playable, you know.
Actually, you are playable if a second player picks up the controller.
Alright. However, the developers thought ahead. That barrier can only be destroyed with a 69 attack. So let's do it.
So, see, you have to use the power of love after all.
It doesn't really matter though, because you can still very easily defeat the boss, even without that. Yeah, I never get tired of watching this cutscene.
They're really proud of that animation.
I guess, but...
We're proud of it, we're gonna show it off, damn it.
But yeah, it's a pretty good boss design, so I can see why they need merchandise of it.
I don't know, it's more the fact that it's, anatomically accurate, quote unquote, not 1% of it, but a more anatomically accurate heart, which is not the most aesthetically appeasing thing in the world.
Oh, watch out.
Watch out, you're gonna crash.
You're gonna get electrocuted.
Watch out! He's up to something!
Is he?
And you get sucked into a black hole.
Oh no, we're entering the Crash Bandicoot dimension.
There you go. So that's what he's up to. Alright.
Basically, you gotta get to him before he can pull it.
Basically, I was trying to see if I could platform my way through it, but it looks like it basically at this point I might as well just use the Tails copter.
I wasn't paying attention when the boss started. I got distracted by something. But did you get the shield at the start of the level?
No, I missed that. Oh wait, did I?
No.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay then.
I have to remind the guy who played the game.
Joba, look, Joba, I'm getting old, okay? Cut me some
He's
slack.
the oldest. His memory is with you.
You're only 30-something, dang it.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm 50 though.
See, I laugh at this even though
Remember,
I'm not much
Joba,
younger than him.
you're as old as you feel, and I sure feel 50.
What are you talking about here? You're only 25.
Again, again, Dedge.
No, Dedge. She's older than me. I'm actually the youngest member on the group.
Yeah.
Joba, I don't think you're getting at what he's.
Not to mention, you're not supposed to talk about a woman's age. So. Neither her age nor her weight.
Oh wait, what about Little Planet?
Oh, okay, yeah. And here's the thing about this ending.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So we're just going to, I guess, fuck Little Planet, I guess.
Tails, we saved the world again!
Fuck it.
Okay, so here's the basic gist of it. So, yeah, we leave, by the way, yeah, we never see what becomes of Little Planet, by the way. It's just there, still roboticized, in the background, and for the record, so let me think into it. Maybe this is the bad ending and we need to get all the Chaos Emeralds to do that. No, the ending is always the same regardless of how many emeralds you've gotten. So, what an underwhelming ending. So I guess Little Planet got roboticized forever and we never see it again.
To the bad future.
Happy ending?
Considering it returns stages of it return in Mania, I'm guessing it's still fine. Again, Mania takes place after this.
Well, given the fact that everyone's classic and smaller looking in Mania, I'm gonna guess Mania takes place before 4.
So basically what you're telling me is that there's a point in the Sonic chronology where Sonic abandons Little Planet to a horrible roboticized tragic fate?
No. You see, we destroyed the mechanisms outside of it, so by the time we get back on Earth, all the metal will fall off of Little Planet. You just won't see it.
Oh, of course. Hey, Dibs. Off-screen stuff. Your favorite.
Okay. All joking aside, as we've mentioned before, originally it was obvious there was going to be an episode 3. Like, literally. The whole to be continued thing is coded into the game.
That is true.
Found in the files. It's just that again, after the backlash that episode 1 got from fans, despite being loved by critics and purists, essentially, they were apparently less faithful, so my guess is that they had them essentially not put it here so as to not give people false hopes.
That is true, Jova. However, there is no episode 3. This is the end of the Sonic 4 saga, so as far as I can tell, Sonic just abandoned Little Planet. What the fuck is this ending? Or lack thereof, more like.
It's gonna be funny if Superstars actually reveals that the true purpose of that is finally to free Little Planet.
And that they haven't said it during the marketing, but have they maybe perchance mentioned where in the chronology Superstar might take place?
We know it takes place after Origins.
Yeah, it's a sequel to Origins too. But oh, and look at that, the lights went out.
So I guess that means that it's deactivated. So Little Planet is okay in there.
Is it?
Just a light piece
Is it
of
though?
Tomb.
I'm not entirely. I want to see some actual evidence of this.
No, don't you see, Pedro?
Sonic 4 is canon.
No, don't you see, Pedro? We did it! We saved Little Planet!
Did we?
Did we? Did we though? But anyway, well, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the story of how Sonic abandoned the Little Planet to its fate. The end.
Sonic was supposed to not kill.
Alright.
Didn't kill. Tio, I don't have to. I'm not gonna
kill you, but I don't have to save you. Yeah. Okay. So that was Sonic 4. Dwibs, final thoughts on both episodes, please.
Alright. Okay, I don't think it's the worst game in the history of Sonic or anything.
Nah.
But it does leave a bit to be desired overall. Okay, if I'm going to compare each aspect of a game between episodes 1 and 2, graphics, definitely episode 2 has the edge on that front. Because, well, it doesn't look like plastic, well, in general, just plastic stuff. I get what they were going for in episode 1, but the final result just wasn't great. Whereas episode 2, it definitely at least looks like a game that released in 2012, even if it was a low-budget one, so there's that. Gameplay, again, episode 2, because of the improved physics. And the 69 sexy attack. Music. Okay, I'm actually gonna side with episode 1 on the music front. I mean, yes, there's the cat melodies. Yeah, sorry, the cat instrumentation. But I think the melodies were a bit better in episode 1 than they are in episode 2. And while episode 2 sometimes has a better sound font, other times it just grates on my ears, and some of the tracks themselves really don't help, like the Eggman's boss theme, all of Royal Ocean, among others, and the remix of Stardust Speedway, for what little we got to hear of it in this playthrough. I have heard it off commentary. I've heard much better from in terms of Sonic remixes. Anything else I can say?
What do you think about the? I don't know, like the way the game, like the graphics, I guess.
I've already mentioned the graphics.
Okay.
I think 2 is the edge.
Okay, what do you think, of the level design?
Putting aside the overabundance of speed boosters, the levels themselves are fine-ish. I mean, they're not like this. It's not like it's too easy, or it's way too difficult or anything. It's got a decent balance in terms of difficulty. It's just, well, again, I've seen better before this, and I've seen better since.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't know what else.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I appreciate what Dibs were going for, and I understand that the whole Sonic 4 naming system wasn't entirely in their own control. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out at the end of the day, and it is a shame that it's practically left unfinished.
Yep.
Because of the ending, especially
as far as I can tell, Sonic abandoned Little Planet to its fate. That's like
after all that effort he went through to save it, he left it trapped again.
You know, I wonder if Ian Flynn's eventually going to make a comic book tie-in.
There was a prequel tie-in comic to this episode, but it just boils down to, hey Sonic, Eggman is up to something again. Okay, let's go then. Little Planet. And that's basically it.
Immediately after he crashes down to Earth.
Okay. Now, back then, Sega and Sonic Team were kind of scrambling to definitely try and keep the most refined and well-liked of stuff in the limelight. So, now that the franchise has been making a pretty good comeback ever since the first Sonic movie, and especially now with last year in 2022, do you think eventually they might work up the nerve to give us the conclusion to the Sonic 4 saga eventually?
Joe, I'm gonna be real. I feel like we have a greater chance of SA3 happening.
That ship. I think the ship has sailed at this point.
Beyond that,
it's been 11 years.
Beyond that, Jova, my reasoning would be, even if so, I think the franchise has other things that should be more prioritized than this.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I can agree with that. I'm just wondering if, given that they have definitely garnered back a lot of their confidence, I wonder if eventually we might see something of a side project pertaining to this. Or, granted, maybe it'll be retcon that Sonic 4 was its own little pocket multiverse from Sonic Prime.
Best case scenario, you're going to get a Sonic 4 episode 1 and 2 re-release, and that's it.
And maybe
because we have Superstars, and I feel like with Mania success and Superstars, they're probably going to run with that.
Yeah.
From now on, instead of trying to.
That's me done. Sonic 4 overall, it's not bad, but I'll certainly play it over the likes of Genesis.
I mean,
in terms of Sonic 2D games.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I suck at 2D games, so what do I know? But then again, Sonic 4's 2.5D.
2.5D, yes, that's the main reason why we're doing this, because it was the 2.5D Sonic game, the last one, and now we're gonna get Superstars, which of course is already looking much better than this, so that's fun.
Yeah, hey, Superstars is 2.5D, so maybe I won't suck.
So I guess everybody tune in for whenever we get the answer to that. I guess get hyped. Anything else, Dibs?
Nah, I'm done.
All right. Shiroi, your thoughts, please.
Well, episode 1, they would have been better off just sticking with the original plan and not calling it Sonic 4, because I think people would have complained about it, but people wouldn't be as soured if it wasn't called Sonic 4.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it was originally supposed to be a mobile-based
Sonic
game.
the Portable.
The expectations with mobile games from the get-go are not high for obvious reasons.
Yeah, and they're even lower for Sonic since, Unleashed Mobile is a thing that certainly exists.
Oh, God, the earlier days of mobile phone games before smartphones.
Usually they refer to the graphical engine that they use, Java games.
All right.
Remember Crash to Insanity on mobile?
Again, this discussion was a lot of time because I actually played a lot of those back in the day.
Carry on.
Everything looks pretty plastic, even by Sonic standards, because I know he's very shiny in Heroes and such, but I don't know. It just looks pretty bad here. It's at least vibrant. It's not completely awful to look at, but it's not right either. The music it's the same problem I have with Forces, where with better instrumentation, a lot of these tracks would probably be really good. I don't think I have much to say about Episode 1 other than that. It's just something that should not have been Sonic 4 in the first place, and we should have just moved on from it pretty quickly.
Well, okay, what about the game that you've actually been playing recently? Sonic 4 Episode 2.
Much better.
What console are you playing that, if you don't mind me asking?
PC.
Okay, so I guess if you need help, Pedro can probably help you.
Yeah, I need somebody to get through that flashing, because I ain't doing it. But, let's see. It definitely looks a lot better. It plays a lot better. I still have my issues with some of the gameplay, because Sonic is a bit too slow, which, like, I know people are kind of sick of, the boost to win kind of thing, but I don't know, it just takes him forever to start up, and it's just kind of clunky, and it's even more noticeable in the water where, obviously he's slower by default. The tail stuff is fine. The co-op didn't sound very fun, though, for people who actually do play that. The special stages are a lot better. I don't mind the reuse of the half pint, to be honest, because it's something that works. Like, I don't really feel the need to just change it all the time. It was nice to get Blue Sphere in Mania again, but I don't know. This isn't like a Green Hill Zone situation.
My thing with it is that every single Sonic 1 had its own special stage. Sonic 2 has its own special stage. Sonic 3 has its own special stage. Why can't Sonic 4 have its own special stage? That's unique to itself.
I'm just more of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of person. But the music is better. Some of the instrumentation is not good. Oil Desert, we already talked about that not too long ago. But yeah, much better to listen to, much better to look at, better to play. Episode Metal was cute. That's it. It was fine. I think that's it. I'm glad we've moved past this, and even then, it's not even the worst the series has ever seen. And no, it's not 06.
I'll take. Well, yeah. Well, that's a port of an old game, though. When it comes to properly bad games, because that's a bad port of a good game.
I still hold that you could make the argument Genesis is the worst Sonic game we've gotten. Period.
Well, sure.
I wonder, was that the one you were referring to, Shiroi?
Honestly,
Free Riders was a game I repressed to the point where I legit forgot it existed. So I remember a few years ago when you guys were talking about Free Riders, I genuinely didn't know, or thought I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
Oh, no, trust me.
No, I had buried this shit deep in my mind.
No, see, here's the thing about Free Riders.
Did you try that game?
No, here's the
No, I haven't, luckily.
See, here's the thing, Dej. Sonic Free Riders is a very good argument can be made that Sonic Free Riders is the worst Sonic game ever made for various reasons. One, because of its broken Kinect gameplay, and even if you do patch it out with the recent patch that came out made by fans, it shows you. It shows how utterly basic as fuck the game is, because remember, it was made for Kinect controls, so obviously they had to make the game super basic to make it even remotely hoping to be playable.
And apparently the characters are all assholes.
And the writing is by far the most mean-spirited writing the series has ever had, where everybody is constantly being dicks to each other for no reason, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like,
it was made worse for me too, as someone who genuinely really likes the Riders duology. Yes, I am calling it a duology.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for Sonic 4. It's there are better things.
All right, Dej.
Well, from what everything I've seen through reviews, let's plays, even here, I can safely say I am very glad that we're out of this weird ass era of Sonic Team, Sega trying to be. Hey, remember the good old days?
Remember when we?
To be fair, Dad, Sonic Team didn't have anything to do with Sonic 4. It was all Dims.
I thought they had some involvement.
Well, Iizuka is the producer though. It's like
Iizuka was producer in the sense that he didn't really have command over the development. Remember, this was around the time where he was sort of getting kicked upstairs, essentially, where he had, I think, the head of it. But no, Sonic Team aren't credited for this game. The big developers in charge were Dims.
Wikipedia says they are. I'm sure that they were Sonic Team were supervising.
Well, regardless, the point is...
Regardless, Sega in general, I'm just glad that we're not trying to do the fan service and homaging the old games is fine, but you also need to introduce something new. As much as I love Mania, it was still another nostalgia fest.
And to give it
a
credit,
good chunk of the levels were old stages. I'm glad Superstars exists because it is basically doing, okay, you remember all this classic stuff? Now let's introduce new levels and bring new ideas to the table. Frontiers was also a step in the right direction as well, even if the cyberspace levels be reusing levels designs. But,
one thing to point out, Dedge, to be fair, credit where credit is due, Sonic 4 Episode 2, those are all brand new levels in that regard.
That are just derivative versions of stages from Sonic 2. No. Sylvania is not just a retread of Aquatic Ruins. It's different enough. White Park Zone is original in and of its own regard. And Oil Desert. Yeah. And Oil Desert is not just a retread of Oil Ocean. It does have its own different gimmicks and sets. For the plain one, that one also has different mechanics and whatnot. There's not much you can do to diversify there, but no. Sonic 4 Episode 2 is not just a visual retread of zones like Sonic 4 Episode 1 was. Sonic 4 Episode 2 was them actually trying to add new stuff to the formula. Granted, but it felt like a half step that wanted to go.
I will agree it was about a 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Anyway, you got any other thoughts?
Damn, this really was meant to be a mobile game, huh?
Yep. What other game do we know, Deji, that was supposed to be a mobile game but was then turned into a console game?
Alright, now it's time to start
I genuinely don't know.
I was literally quoting the song that you love to gift people.
Yeah.
Alan Wonderworld.
Oh, that was that supposed to be a mobile game?
Yeah, it was originally meant to be.
I love how you've already forgotten about that.
Why do you think?
I can blame you.
Why do you think? Where do you think that whole there's only one action at one time mentality came from? It was meant for a touchscreen.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the vibe I got from playing the demo, but I didn't know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Again, just to recap, it was originally supposed to be a mobile game, but Hashimoto from Square Enix pushed for it to be a console game.
Yeah.
Wherein then Naka got the whole "this is your last chance."
It's the same thing that happened with Voice of Cards. I guess it's Hashimoto essentially pushing the minor devs into, doing better.
I guess.
He seems like a guy who means well, even if his decisions aren't always the best.
Alright, anything else you have to say, Dej?
I'm glad these games exist and made Sega realize, this is not what we want. And also calling it Sonic 4 just to drive on sales was kind of a scummy idea. But thankfully, we got Mania and Superstars.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. All right, then.
Tio. Go ahead, Tio.
Sure, I guess. I don't really have much to say, to be honest. once again, it's a thing that I forgot what my thoughts were in the first time we went around this. So take these as the new canon anyway. It's rough. It shows the time it was made. It's not really appeasing to the eye. The second game a bit better, but not too much. You can tell that with the second game they tried a bit better, in terms of creating more memorable bosses. So there is that. The soundtrack as a whole, at best to me, is just forgettable. Some of the tracks, like I said, the Dying Ducks are not really that good to begin with. But even at its best, to me, there is not really much of a track here that I would personally remember much. I don't think they're the worst thing ever. I definitely don't think the themes are that bad, as we've said. But they just don't really resonate. There are much better Sonic tracks that I can, listen for anyway. It's for the rest, it's a Sonic game. I would have been happy to see what the conclusion eventually would have been, for episode 3. But like I said, I think there are more higher priorities that Sega probably should consider before answering that question. Maybe still in the future, obviously, or if it's a very budgeted title and a chance for teams to finish filling the gaps, if they really want, sure. But I wouldn't, lose my sleep if we never get that. So there is that. Next.
Jova.
Okay. Sonic 4, as a whole, is a game I have... Can I even really call them complex feelings? Like, on the surface they feel complicated, but it's actually relatively simple. I like Episode 2. Episode 1 is, I like aspects about it in spite of itself. Like, Episode 1 is a mess. Like, right from the very development and conception of turning it into Sonic 4. What a mess. Not a terrible mess. Like, it's not soul-crushing like, say, Sonic 06. It's not as devastating as Sonic Genesis, but it really is about of just try again. Just try again, Dims.
Try again.
It really is a shame because Dims have shown they can do better. Now, granted, trying to make a classic-style Sonic game using the Rush engine probably was not a good idea for Episode 1. Oh, wait, it's just like how with Genesis they used the Sonic Advance engine. Jesus Christ. No, the physics are broken. The music is... Okay, the melodies are good in Episode 1. It's just... The instrumentation ain't there, and I'm not even really a fan of Eggman's first bossing before the pin stuff comes in. Now, Episode Metal and Episode 2, much better. Like, I feel like this is, at the very least, what Sonic 4 should have started with in terms of, like, quality. Like, the visuals look a lot better. I dig that they didn't just go with the idea that, oh, all of Sonic's friends are crappy. Like, no, they brought back more of the cast with Tails and Metal. Appreciate that. The music is much better in Episode 2 for me, honestly, to the point where I actually do go back and listen to that. I do like the bosses, and I like the level design for the most part. That being said, I like Episode 2, but I do not love it. And keep in mind, me saying that it's better than Episode 1, keep in mind we're comparing Episode 2 to. Episode 1 is legit a game where you can stand up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
With how broken those physics are.
The game has no... What physics? This game has no physics. Episode 1, I mean.
Now, and again, don't let me act like nothing redeeming came from Episode 1. I actually did like some of the Casino Street. I did like some of the level Summit Zone. The gimmicks are neat, and it is kind of a shame we didn't bring back some gimmick play for Episode 2, but man, Episode 1 is like... I feel like the best thing Episode 1 did was just expose how shallow gaming critics can be, because, of course, that was the game they praised to high heaven for returning to Sonic's roots, getting rid of his crappy friends and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that episode 2 may not have been received as well for whatever reason, but I can at least appreciate the integrity that, regardless of what praise they were going to get or not, episode 2 at least feels like, no, this feels more like what we should be getting from Sonic, as opposed to just what the critics or purists want from Sonic.
Hey, Jova, but what about those awesome prototype stages, like the pinball and the fucking minecart? I mean...
The minecart is an interesting idea in interactivity with mobile gameplay. Like, that's the thing. I'm not saying you can't make a game centered around motion controls. Nintendo managed to make a lot of good ones. But even in that case, sometimes when the only challenge comes from the fact that you're using motion controls, that might be a sign it's not always the best idea. I'm looking at you, 6-axis. But I digress. It's just that, well, no, they aren't the best. Like, again, that's just the thing. Episode 1 is a mess. And one that I feel does pretty much drag down Sonic 4 as a whole, because for a lot of people, the first thing they would think of Sonic 4 would be Episode 1. Since typically you start with Episode 1, and with Episode 1 being the first impression, yeah, is it any surprise that Episode 2 kind of apparently had a bit more struggles with sales? Which again is a shame, because it really feels like they were trying actually with Episode 2. Not to say that I never felt like they were trying with Episode 1. I can get the idea that they were trying, but it's just all of the stuff involved bogged it down. Like I said, I can like Episode 2, but it's not stellar. Now, a Sonic game I love, that's something like Adventure. It's something like Sonic Frontiers, which has amazing boss fights, great open world gameplay. And once you get used to it, cyber stages that come with pristine vocal tracks, especially including Flowing into the Light. And yeah, Generations is a great time. Sonic Colors as well. It's just Sonic 4 Episode 2, I would have to probably put that in the C tier of like, hey, I like this, but it could be way much better. And sadly, yeah, that ending.
What? And that's the thing, or better, lack thereof. Like, can we even consider this an ending? It doesn't even feel remotely like a conclusion to anything.
You know, between this and Mega Man Legends, what is it with blue-themed heroes having cliffhangers that involve stuff getting stuck in space?
The major difference is that a lot of people would like a Mega Man Legends free. I'm not entirely certain people are clamoring for an episode free of this.
Okay, back in the day, people were clamoring for an episode free because they wanted to save Little Planet. Nowadays, a lot of people pretty much just ignore this. Like, sure, it's canon, but we can easily just infer that, you know, the mechanisms probably fell off of Little Planet. Little Planet got free, or Sonic and company went back later and destroyed it or whatnot. In the grand cosmos of things, Eggman's plan was defeated once again, yada yada yada. So that's Sonic 4. It came, it saw, it sort of conquered at first bafflingly, until it didn't. May it rest in peace and live on via merchandise and hopefully a re-release. Seriously, game preservation is important, even for the games we may not care for as much.
Well, the Steam versions will basically run on a toaster, so you can, if you have a PC, you can very easily play these two games still.
And I guess there are still the Android versions too.
I guess, but I would rather play this with a controller.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you know, in terms of where you can get them,
sure,
is what I'm talking about.
I mean, you can. If I remember correctly, both Sonic 4 episodes are backwards compatible with the Xbox Series consoles, so you can also play them there. That's basically it, really. As for me, okay, let me put it this way. I'm going to once again be mean because, like Johnny said, by making this game a sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you're giving yourself massive shoes to fill, and this game doesn't even remotely come close from filling those shoes. A Sonic 4 should take everything that Sonic 3 and Knuckles did and go even further, like Sonic 2 did it before, did it for 1. Like Sonic 3 did for 1. Sorry, for 2. Sorry. Like, and this game is so preoccupied with reusing ideas. And even when it comes to and like there's more reused stuff here than new ideas. Like, not that the new ideas are bad necessarily. It's just that the game still doesn't really have much of an identity of its own, because a lot of it is basically reusing beats from previous games instead of trying to really commit to just having more original zones and try to actually move forward. See, let's talk about the music. See, here's the thing. By going back to the Sonic 2 synths, it shows you're missing the point. The Sonic 2 synths were used back in 1992 because of the limitations at the time. The very moment the Sega CD became a thing, Sonic Team immediately started making a game with CD audio because, they wanted to take advantage of that. Intentionally limiting yourself like this is... Like, I get we want to be a throwback to shit. Well, like Sonic Mania knew how to do this better, because Thiago used better samples akin to Sonic CD music to make the music not feel like it's trying to restrain itself to 1992 technology.
So would you say this means Jun Sonoe got his character development arc because Sonic Superstars actually sounds pretty cool? Even with him as, the main composer for that game? Aside from
well, I still haven't heard the entirety of Superstar's soundtrack, so I'm gonna hold my judgment on that.
It sounds good for the most part, granted, and hey, it's your dream team, it's your dream team, Pedro.
Yeah, it is, but
collaborating with Thiago.
Indeed. Which is fine by me. I'm glad that soundtrack is actually using proper instruments, because Jun should not be restraining himself like that, because he's not good at that. Like, as someone who was a big fan of Jun Sonoe, like, I hate the fact that he keeps being delegated to what are technically the B projects, and I mean, he hasn't been the sound director for a main Sonic game since Sonic Generations. That was in 2011.
Vocal director for Frontiers.
Oh, he was a vocal director, but I'm not talking about vocal director. I'm talking about the sound director, like him actually being the in charge of a fucking soundtrack. How long is it? It's been so long since we've had him in charge of a modern soundtrack, which is where I think he excels the best, rather than at classic Sonic stuff.
I feel like Superstars is kind of, I wouldn't call that a beat budget game, since that one looks like it definitely has more of a budget behind it.
I know, Superstars looks great, but it's not a Sonic Frontiers level of a project, obviously.
Let's see.
For me,
in regards... Sorry,
because Jun Sonoe is at his best when he's doing what he does, when he does vocal songs and rock music. That's his element, which is why stucking him with Sonic 4 is a mind-numbingly stupid decision. Why not get Naofumi Ataya to do the music for this game?
Again, if I recall correctly, Jun Sonoe was involved with Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so I get the logic. Here's the problem, and this is not something that's exclusive to Sega. A lot of game companies, when they make older style games, it feels like they instantly use a synthesizer and go, hey, use this to simulate those old sounding game noises, essentially. And I'm not going to say it never works, but you can definitely tell the imitators from the people who actually know what they're doing with those old sounds.
Exactly. Lo and behold, in 2019, they got Jun to make a proper modern style soundtrack in Team Sonic Racing, and look at that. It was at the time, back in 2019, regarded as the best Sonic OST we've gotten in a while. It's like if lo and behold, if you put Jun in his element, he can do good. Instead of putting him doing classical music like they did, where they had him do the supersonic theme for the new supersonic theme for Sonic 3 in Sonic Origins, which is a good melody, but the instrumentation it clashes with the instrumentation of the other Sonic 3 tracks. You can check Palo Blues Remix, where he took that track and made it much more close to Sonic 3's sound font, and sounds much better. Again, like, can we please let June work on an actual modern soundtrack for a change? It's just
that being said, Pedro, have we considered the feeling that he's actually where he wants to be in the grand scheme of things?
If he is where he wants to be, I have to disagree with him, because I think he's intentionally I think he's undermining his own potential by doing that. He can do that, but I don't have to agree with it.
I guess it's like, well, I feel like he did have a role to play with some of the songs in Frontiers, arguably the best songs as well.
Yeah.
They're the flipping boss tracks, but, so I wonder, and granted, for as great as Jun Tsunoi is, Tomoyo Otani does kind of have the reach on him in regards to how he can do several different genres of music, whereas Jun is most geared with specifically the rock tracks and the modern stuff. Not to say he's bad at that, but my guess is like, well, they've kept Tomoya because he hasn't really steered them wrong, essentially. He's shown he has range in the genres, and maybe Tsunoi himself agrees that Otani is the best fit for this. Like, man, again, what it would pay to be a fly on the wall for these sort of decisions.
See, my thing is, I think the Sonic soundtracks are at their best when the entirety of the Sega Sound team is working in conjunction, like they were in the pre-Sonic Unleashed period.
And like how they were in Team Sonic Racing?
Well, with Team Sonic Racing, Tomoyo Otani didn't work on that, did he?
He did, actually. He provided some of the tracks. It was a high collaboration effort between a ton of ones. You had Hyper Potions, you had two...
and look, and Team Sonic Racing soundtrack is great, because I feel like, again, I once... Let me put it this way. Sonic Adventure 1 soundtrack is my favorite Sonic soundtrack. And that soundtrack has Jun leading with all the other composers composing under his leadership, I want something like that again, but whatever. The point is, the music is not great, the instrumentation is blah, and the melodies, most of the time they're good, but the instrumentation really makes it hard to appreciate the melodies. The graphics. Okay, Sonic 4 Episode 1 looks like ass. It looks like a game that was made by a fan who doesn't have much experience with making games. The physics are non-existent, and the game is bland as shit. Episode 2 is better, but not by much in my opinion. It's just like it's serviceable at best, and it's just like there's nothing here I can't get from other games that Dimps made, for fuck's sake. Sonic Advance 1 is a better Sonic 4 than this.
Yeah.
Like, it's and that's the sad part, because you'd think the developers who made Sonic Advance 1 would be able to replicate what they did with that game in this. But
okay, again, gonna give them credit with Episode 1. That was originally gonna be a mobile game, so in the time that they had to hurry to make it more suitable for console games, I can maybe get why stuff was rough around the edges. Again, it explains why Episode 2 definitely is a noticeable step in quality of at least functioning properly like that. I feel like what Episode's 2 issue is that it's stuck in about a limbo where it needs to be somewhat in line with Episode 1 in terms of how stuff works, but it's still an improvement. It's just that it's tethered and weighed down by the Sonic 4 title in so many a way. Which, just bring us back to how it was cursed that this thing was turned into Sonic 4. I don't hate it, but I'm like, nah.
I still insist on this. They called it Sonic 4, therefore I will judge it as a sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
So better or worse than when they changed Sonic 06 from being Sonic Adventure 3 to being Sonic the Hedgehog?
Well, that's the thing. When it comes to that, I will argue Sonic 06 is clearly an adventure game. Yeah, it's a bad adventure game, but at the very least, it does fit the bill of an adventure game.
No, my point is do you think that it was bad that they changed to just Sonic the
Hedgehog? I'm actually going to agree with Clement on that one. I would still rather it be called Sonic Adventure 3, because just giving the whole name of the franchise to that game feels worse. because like as if it's oh there you go Sonic, because remember it was meant to be a reboot, which is why they call it Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's just like anyway, the point is Sonic 4, it's not really worth your time. There are far better 2D Sonic games you can play. There's nothing in this game that other better 2D Sonic games can't offer you. So honestly, unless you've played every other Sonic game that has ever been made, and you haven't played this one, so you might as well play this to officially say you've played all of them. I don't really see much of a reason to go back to this, honestly. I wouldn't mind a re-release, but at the same time, I'm not going to lose sleep over it because, to be honest, I just don't really care. The point is, Sonic 4, it sucks at worst and it's serviceable at best. And yeah, that's it. Well, everybody.
Rest in peace.
All right, everybody.
Little game.
And that was the 2.5D Sonic game that we got, everybody. So eventually we'll get Superstars. So here's hoping.
What are you talking about? We also got Sonic Colors.
Oh yeah.
No, Dad, come on. Don't go with that old tired joke.
All right.
I thought he was referring to the DS version. Okay.
Oh, if he is, then sure, that's fine.
Whatever.
Because that existed.
Yeah, irrelevant.
It was
See,
good.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
So yeah.